Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's SheFan Pro's Empowered Women in Blockchains and Grow Your Network. I'm so pleased to have you all here with me today, and everybody that's watching back on the recording too. It's just so wonderful to have your continued support. Now, today, I can tell you, and I'm very happy to tell you, that I have the wonderful lady here called Charul, and she's absolutely fabulous. And I know that we've had some conversations before, haven't we, Charul? And it's been,
We did.
always great fun to talk to you. Lots of great conversation, and there's never a quiet moment really, in our conversation. So it's really great to have you here, and you're looking really, really well. And I
Thank you.
and I can say that Charul's from India, but staying in Ireland at the moment, and a place that I've not been to for some time, but I will be coming over to visit when I can. And I know that you're involved in a couple of projects at the moment, which are really, really interesting. And I know that our audience is going to find those interesting as well. So I'd just like to, first of all, I guess, for our audience's sake, just if you could share a little bit more about, about your background and a bit more about your life story, because it's really quite fascinating.
Right. Thank you, Shelley. And thank you so much for having me here. And thank you, Shelley, for a very beautiful introduction and for having me on the show, because it's such a great opportunity for me to be here today to express myself and I'm feeling very comfortable from now on. And, when I joined joined the meeting, that I can freely express myself, that I have no limitations, to express myself. So to give a background of my own life. So I come from India. I'm the only child of my parents. So when I was growing up, I grew up as a tomboy. I never felt like I was a real feminine because my parents were very busy in their own life to provide for me and to provide the best life, to create a best life for me. So most of the time I grew up by my own. And I was very deep person from the early childhood. So I always thought about life very deeply, that Charul, what do you want to do? And but the voice that would come out was that I really want to do something big in my life, but I didn't knew at that stage what that big is going to be, and I'm still finding that out. But I think now, when I'm 33, I'm taking steps towards it, and I'm getting closer to realizing what I would really love to do, what my biggest passion is. So it's been a journey to find out to really find out and to acknowledge who I am as a person, what I really want to do with my life, what my ultimate goal is going to be. But coming from India, so I moved to Ireland 8 years ago. And when I was growing up there, I always say to people I had more animals around me because my parents worked a lot in charity. We had an animal welfare charity. So I was playing with animals. I was very connected with animals and spirituality while I was growing up. My home was very spiritual, and always so many different animals around us. So that connection with being with animals and spirituality, I think, helped me become a very different person. I connected with different kind of lives around me on a very deeper level. So that's something is in my essence, that I like connecting with different life in a very deeper level. So, and that's what I have found out recently about me once again, that Cheryl, you lost that identity, you lost that essence of in this whole journey of laying foundation for yourself. And I'm coming back to it once again, and I feel so happy about it, that after now, when I'm acknowledging that I am that person, and this is a skill, this is a talent that's inside of me that I want to bring in the world, and make it a more stronger society, and where people connect on a deeper level with that love and care and compassion and help and support we give to each other. So, right, I think I got off the track a bit. I got a bit emotional.
No, I think
So, right,
it's so important though, and
right,
that's what I love about you, and that's what makes you you.
right.
That
Mm,
individuality, and that should never be lost, because
right.
it's so important to remain unique in your purpose
Yeah,
and your passion, and you capture that, don't you? And
right,
and I know our audience will very much appreciate seeing that, because it's authentic and it's real, and we need more of that in the world. We really do.
right.
And I think it's fascinating. And I love, what you said about the animals and,
Yeah.
and the spirituality. It sounds very much like my own childhood, if I'm being quite honest. Very, very
Right.
similar, in fact.
Right.
So that really resonates for me.
Right.
So now
Yeah.
you're here in Ireland, and what's happening now? Because I know there's a couple of
Sure.
projects that you're
Right.
involved in.
Yes, sure. So I would, Shelley, on your question, I would like to go back to India now once again on what really brought me to Ireland. So when I was growing up, I completed my secondary school, and then mostly for the younger generation at that time, we had very limited careers for ourselves to choose from, and they were usually mainly chosen by our parents. So my parents decided that, all right, we want our daughter to do IT and engineering in IT. And they got me admitted into an engineering school. And at that time, again, goes back to that I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. But I loved social welfare. I loved working with animals. So I also, in parallel, started an animal charity to help to help from the with the social causes. And I went on with my engineering, and I did really good. I performed really well, but that quest inside of me was already there. That, is this what are you really want to do? Is this where your heart lies in? I didn't know about it. And then I continued working after completing my engineering. I worked with a few IT companies in India. And then a voice came in from inside of me that now there is an opportunity to do something else. I need to spread my wings, or maybe try and explore new domains and areas. How can I grow further? I think it's all in we human beings. It's an evolutionary aspect that we are always searching and looking for something beyond, and something that can help us become a better version. That curiosity. So I carried that curiosity, and then I realized that, Charul, being in India and being in that comfortable society that's created for you, you're close to your parents. It's a very comfortable life that I had, and then I realized that at that stage that I need to break that comfort zone for myself. And after a couple of discussions with friends and looking around that what's available for me um, to break that boundary, I decided that let's try and go for higher education abroad and get more cultural experience, travel the world, and probably that will help with my quest. That will help me finding out more about myself. So and that's another thing, is that when we are growing in India, so after doing your bachelor's, everybody at that age, 10 years ago, a decade ago, wanted to go for masters or wanted to go for higher studies. So I chose the same path that a lot of kids at my age were choosing. We were doing our engineering degrees, we were moving abroad to do masters. So that direction, I think it was also influenced by my environment. But at that stage, I found out that moving abroad will help me get to identify to help me discover more about myself. And then I found out about Ireland. I got a scholarship, and then I moved to Ireland 8 years ago, and it really changed my perspective. It really changed how I saw life, and getting exposed to the international way of living, different cultures, people from everywhere around the world. I appreciated cultures a lot more. And now I describe it as, when I was back home, I was seeing life as a horse that has, the shed over here. I was seeing life in a very narrow frame. But after moving to Ireland, it broadened up, and I was appreciating cultures more, respecting people's viewpoints, perspective a lot more. And it helped me shape the woman I am right now. And the one thing I really love about my life right now is that with the growth mindset, I'm still exploring, I'm still discovering about myself. And every year I'm a new person. I have new skills, new talents that I discover. So recently, so I'm working on 2 projects along with my 9 to 5 job. I'm working in a product role, which I really like, I enjoy, but I am also very passionate about diversity subjects, and also about blockchain. So I started 2 projects, one on the blockchain, it's called the Web3 Passport. And the second one, in terms of diversity and inclusion, I am working on Diversified Ireland project. That's more about exploring cultures, more about life experiences and your story, and creating a safe space for people to share their stories of immigration, their life, their challenges, and how did they overcome it. So it's all about people and connecting people on a deeper level. Now, talking about, I was so passionate about blockchain, and I realized that 3 years ago, I think during COVID, that's when I started investing. It all started with investing and trying to be a millionaire. Right. It started like that because I always wanted to help communities, and, a woman wanted to work towards women empowerment, animals, and for charities in the developing nations. And some of my friends I knew were investing, and I thought that, okay, I should try this. Maybe I can get a lot of rewards, and I can then contribute to the charities through that reward. Charity and philanthropy has been a very integral part of my life as well, similar to spirituality. So that's how I got into trading, that probably this will help me achieve my charity or philanthropy dreams quite faster, and maybe to get a better lifestyle, to create a better lifestyle and comfortable lifestyle for me and my parents and people back home. That was the idea of getting into crypto trading and investing. And when I got into it, I realized the power of technology, blockchain, and the impact that this revolutionary technology has a bigger impact to create for everyone around the world. And the decentralization can revolutionize a lot of industries, and that this space is so community driven. It appreciates people, it appreciates cultures, diversity, and then so many new things unfolded: metaverse, NFTs, gaming, and how gaming is changing the life of people in the developing nation. So there were so many interesting use cases that I started seeing around Web3 and metaverse, NFTs, blockchain as its own foundational technology. And that's how I got really curious to go more deeper into the tech side. And that's led to the starting of the Web3 passport. And yes, I would love to have a Web3 passport, because coming from India, and being a very passionate and determined person who wanted to make a change for herself as well as for the society, I couldn't travel. I was limited in my travel because of I needed visas all the time. I wanted to travel and get more exposure and be able to freely travel. So I'm hoping that there will be a Web3 passport that will make identity verification a lot easier, and a lot easier for people to travel and connect with each other around the world. I think I spoke a lot.
Yeah, no, I think
Sorry.
that's wow.
Right.
You've got such an experienced background, lots of different experiences, haven't you? And lots of growing and developing and discovering, and it's great to hear about it all. And yes, Web3 passport, there's so many benefits to that spring to mind, on a day-to-day level, for civilians, never mind all the aspects at a much maybe higher or more senior or whatever level as well, from maybe government's points of views and things like that. But so many benefits to that, aren't there? I mean, it's just amazing. So what's your vision now? What's kind of on the horizon for you? Where is this all going?
Sure, Shelle. So I started the Web3 passport in January, and my plan or vision for Web3 passport initially, in the first iteration of it, was to connect the communities and the projects from around the world. So there is a lot of work in Web3 space, blockchain, NFT, and these spaces is happening in India or in Asia, in South America, and so many different countries. There are very exciting projects that are budding up. So my goal at that stage was to try and connect all these communities and give them platforms to present their project. So I wanted to be a link between, for example, example, say India and Ireland, I wanted those crypto exchanges or the new startup Web3 to present themselves in an Irish space or in the European space, and to give them that platform to represent their project, and to have that voice to talk about what their USP is, what sort of problem they are going to solve. So I would say it started as a podcast to talk about Web3, tech, and even also product, crypto, and blockchain as a platform to share the knowledge and the great use cases that are budding in, and the work that different countries are doing in. So, it started as a podcast from the educational point of view, and as I mentioned, that to provide these interesting projects that are budding in, to have a platform for them to speak up and talk to them about about their project. And it very much aligns to the name of the podcast as well, the Web3 Passport, that I am giving you. For example, there is a startup in Pakistan or India, to give them a passport for them to represent themselves, their project, their USP in Ireland or in Europe or in the West. So that's how it started. But I still, I'm aware of that. I need more guidance and mentoring and coaching from people, peers, and acquaintances, and the organization like SheFan Pro, to help me guide and help me with your expertise on how can I take this project to a next level. And I have realized that throughout my life that alone we can do best we can, but together we can make a bigger impact. So, and that's why I'm here today. That's why we are connected, so that with your coaching, with your expertise and the talent that we have with SheFan Pro, I can get that advice and mentoring that can take me to the next level and help me identify and get more clarity into the vision and strategy of what I'm working on. But I'm sure, I feel that the Web3 Passport can make a big impact. But I think when I'm alone, when I'm doing everything by myself, I can find myself being a lot weaker at times. But with the right support of women with me, who are on the same journey, can help me give that strength.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. I totally agree with you there. I mean, we're so much better when we come together and we, share capabilities, share resources. And sometimes, it's just mentoring and coaching, isn't it? And sometimes it's just that support, that, acknowledgement or whatever, is just invaluable, isn't it? You can't put a price on that. We all grow together, and it's a beautiful thing when we can do that, isn't it?
Definitely.
So and SheFan Pro, is so delighted to have you here, and I'm so glad, that I've come to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person as well. I think that'll be great. Our networking events in Nottinghamshire, that will be occurring each month, the first one being the 23rd of May. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in future events. I know the 23rd is difficult, you have other engagements, but
Right.
it'd be really great to meet you there and make you feel
Certainly.
very, very welcome.
Certainly, I will be there. I'm
Well,
eagerly looking forward to it. And
so
it's so important. I would also like to mention that I I grew up in India, and there we have a very competitive scenario. So kids are initially, Soumya, I'm not sure if you grew up in India or you grew up in the UK, but there is a pattern that used to repeat a lot when I was growing up, that people or kids were highly competitive, or they were taught to be competitive because you have to always constantly perform better than the other kid in the neighborhood. And I wasn't that person ever. I was very different. I wanted to work with everyone. I didn't understand, when people would compete with me, or they steal my homework and want to get higher marks. So when I grew up, I was the same. I wanted to work with everyone. That competitive edge is all right. At times we need to be there. A little stress is okay. A little competitiveness is okay. But I think it's again our own journey. I was listening to Oprah. I keep listening to her because she's one of my role models. She's very exceptional. Like you are, Shelle, you are always supporting women, always being there to support to your best, because it's about what is my kernel, what I am as a human being, or if I'm following my right path, it's perfect for me. I don't have to compete with somebody. I have to go together with people who are on the same path as me. So I always like going together and taking people with me, and never want to prove myself that okay, I'm at the authoritative level, that's where I will get that satisfaction. No, that wasn't never, it was never for me. Probably it's that yes, so humbleness, kindness was always there in my nature, and to take everyone together with me is what I want to do, and that's the support I want to receive as well, where women are taking me together with them and making me feel comfortable, where I can ask my question, where can I be my real self, my original self, and I can ask any, even those we call stupid questions.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
can be so free to do that because I have been in uncomfortable situations before, and it could be a lot of times we can get into those uncomfortable situations where I wasn't my real self and I didn't feel comfortable in those environments. But I think for our self growth, we need these environments, these communities to be there.
Absolutely. We need we need a
Mhm.
safe space where, we can be our authentic real selves, where we don't,
Yeah,
where we don't feel, that we're competing all the time. Some, like you said, some competition, is necessary. It keeps you on your toes. It makes you strive to be better and all these things. But, there's great magic, like you've quite rightly said there, in, cross-pollination and going together, joining hands and working together. That's where the magic is. And
right,
and to be involved in something like that, is
right,
so powerful and yet so magical at a spiritual level, isn't it? It's just amazing.
right, right. And
Um,
also be vulnerable is also very important.
mm,
And to be safe in the environment where you can be vulnerable.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Cheryl, how do people, if people want to find out more or want to
Yeah,
connect with you or want to offer some support to you or whatever it is, how do they find you? How do they, where are you? Where do they
sure.
find you?
Right. So, Shelley, I am on YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm on Insta as well. And I'm trying to build up on TikTok. I'm trying to expand my social media on Medium as well, on Twitter. But if anybody wants to connect with me, they can connect with me on YouTube. I'm known as the Web3 Passport, is the channel at the Web3 Passport. And on LinkedIn, they can connect me as I have my account as Charul Singh, and you would find me by looking at Charul Singh, the Web3 Passport. I think, yes. So if people connect me through LinkedIn and YouTube, they can, these two portals can help them direct them to different social media channels as well, which I'm trying to build right now. And I would also love if someone who is listening to us is interested in sharing their Web3 blockchain experience or the project or startups they have kicked off in this space. I would love to have a podcast with them. I'm always eager to. Other aspect why I started this podcast was mainly I am driven by knowledge, learning, and wisdom. I believe in constant learning and growing and staying curious. And this platform also helps me learn from people. I learn about the new ideas, the algorithms, and so many different aspects, the challenges, and existing in security, privacy. There are so many aspects that I learn when I talk to them on the podcast, and it opens up a very new,
Yeah,
um, yes, learning for me.
yeah, you're right. I think, every time we have a guest on here, there's always something new to learn. And, I always leave these sessions feeling, so sort of calm, relaxed, informed, just, yeah. And it's a really good way to kind
Yeah,
of not only grow and connect, but to learn as well, and it just
definitely.
enriches your life even more, again, through that power of that connection with that human connection, and that's where the rich, I don't know, the richness is, for want of a
Yes,
better word,
true.
isn't it? It's amazing. It's just
Absolutely.
amazing. So
Absolutely.
so
Um,
for you now, obviously we know that our audience may connect with you on LinkedIn and the other social media platforms that you mentioned. And also, obviously, if anybody does want to, be a guest speaker for Cheryl's Web3 Passport podcast, then absolutely reach out to her. I've been a guest myself, and I felt very comfortable, and it was a real pleasure. And and from that, this has grown, and now you're a guest here, and before we know it, we'll be meeting up in wherever.
Absolutely.
And firm friends and possibly business colleagues. Who knows what could come from it? You know what I mean? It's a beautiful journey, and I'm so pleased that I met you, Charul, and that you reached out to me. And I'm looking forward to the future. Most definitely, future collaborations with you.
Right.
And
Thank you, Shelle. And I also wanted to mention about I missed out on mentioning about the diversity project that I'm working on.
yes,
And so the Web3 passport is on the tech side because I'm very passionate about tech and I would like to work in tech for my life. But obviously interacting with people to work in that community because I like working by myself, but I think I'm a more human person. I'm a more community person. Bring me in middle of 100 people and I will build the best connections with them. And yes, so there will not be one person I won't be talking to. I love approaching, I love talking to people, love building that connection. So I am more driven by community of vibe. And the second project, then Diversified Ireland, I would love to hear people's story, your life stories on what was that particular challenge in your life.
So the second project, how does that tie in? What if people want to share their stories, they get in touch with you again? Is that what happens? What does that look like?
Right. So at present, yes. So they reach out to me and to share their story, and we if they are interested to not have their because they are the video podcasts. So if they're not comfortable with the video podcast, then we can certainly look into audio podcasts and for them to share their story, that what happened to them in that part of the world and how can we work together to raise awareness and to provide. Just for example, I was thinking that how about a community, a group, not sure if it still exists. There are women councils that exist out there. But is there a really safe place for a woman to express themselves to? Like, for example, I know Shelle, and Shelle is very supportive of women, and I know that she will listen to me. She will be there as my as somebody who would listen to my story and will not judge me. Is there that safe place that still exists or a community that exists where if women are facing any struggles in any part of the world can reach out and call on that email, call on that number to discuss what's going on, some kind of a support? I think there is still, this needs to be discovered, that how these situations can be addressed, because a lot of people might not have resources to reach out to for guidance or reach out to a psychotherapist or to take for counseling. So can we do something voluntarily to help these women from different part of the world that they know that they don't need to spend to get a counseling, to share their story and to get some help without any monetary aspect involved in it? Just a
Absolutely.
thought, Shelle. Maybe we got a bit off the topic, but that's something very close to my heart, and that the SheFan Pro is working on is that as well, to encourage women, to uplift them into technology, into blockchain, and to create a safe place for them to learn, to grow, to ask questions, and to uplift women in tech space. But so that's
And
something to do.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's so important, isn't it, to empower women all over the world, and
Right.
it's so important. And and if we can support, that obviously, as SheFan Pro, then we always will do. And I think we can, always have a discussion about that, I think, and how we might be able to support and everything, moving forward. I think we could have that conversation. And you just, the more you speak, the more inspirational you become, and you're just shining. You just, you're like a beacon of hope, I think, for
Right.
so many. And you know, and I think that's going to grow and evolve and everything, because it is so important. It is so important that,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
women feel safe, protected, and have got equal opportunities to, you know, live independent, happy, healthy lives as much as they can globally. You know, I know the UK and I know several other places that aren't without issues, you know, for women.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's an ongoing cause, and
Right.
I equally know,
Yeah.
you know, that there are some amazing men out in India
Yes.
and
Yeah.
in, you know, the UK
Mm.
and all over the world. There are some
Yeah.
really amazing men out there.
Right. Right.
But these experiences, you know, do happen for some women.
Yeah.
You know, one woman is too many. You know, and it's about, you know, creating a safe space, you know, where women can grow and thrive and be supported by the good men out there as well, you know, because, you know, there obviously, you know, there are so many wonderful men as well.
Right.
And I
Right.
suppose there are
Right.
some bad women out there as
Yeah.
well, if we're going to be completely, you
True.
know,
That's definitely, that's another perspective to it, for sure.
you
For
know, I
sure.
suppose, you know,
Absolutely. Yes. That we are living in a, we also should also remind ourselves that we are living in a very complex world. We
we really
do.
are. We really
Right.
are. And it's
Yeah.
so important that we all come
Yeah.
together for the greater good and support each other in our endeavours and champion each
Right.
other. You know, because a journey can be done all alone. It doesn't require a companion, but it's a lonely
Sure.
journey
Right.
and
Mm.
is somewhat you know, bereft of the richness that can be had when you travel with a companion or many companions. The journey is much more fruitful, and
Right.
the, you know, the
Definitely.
destination is often much better as well.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely,
definitely,
completely agree with it. So yes, so the Web3 passport brings tech and the diversity. Ireland, diversified Ireland brings the diversity. So tech and diversity combined together. I hope I can reach
fabulous.
a next level with it. But certainly, as you've just mentioned, to reiterate on it, that having the right companion or right support can help us create a much beautiful journey
Yeah,
and a better
absolutely,
experience, certainly.
absolutely.
Right.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. So,
Yeah.
Sumia, I don't know if you have any
Yeah.
words to share or any questions. If you do, just please do feel free to unmute. But in the meantime, we'll just carry on and start to bring things to a close for today. But what I would
Sure.
say
Yeah.
is, you know, Charul, thank you so much for taking the time. I know we're on a weekend today, and I know how busy you are as well. And so the fact that you've been able to take this time today and share these valuable insights and
Right.
perspectives with ourselves here on the call, but also with our audience that are watching back on the recording. You know, I'm very honoured. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
And
you, Shelley.
I do hope that you'll return again in the future and give
I
us
will.
some more updates on how you're doing.
Will.
And to our audience members as well, thank you for watching back on the recording. You know, we would be lonely without you. So thank you for always being there. And Sumia as well, thank you for joining the call. Always appreciate Sumia as well. And yeah, it's been great
Yeah.
today. Thank you so much,
Lovely.
Charul.
Thank you, Shelley. And before wrapping up, I would like to also mention that, yes, I had a very different life story, and everyone has a very different life story. We are also the byproduct of all the experiences and the environment we have lived in, the experiences we have gone through. But as a woman, we have immense untapped potential within us, and we can be what we want to become if we put our
Mm,
heart into. And I have had lived this in several occasions. And at this stage in my life, I am again at that thinking that I am not enough. I have another long way to go. I have had several achievements, but it's again a stage that what I really, where do I want to go with these projects? Now, these are my babies, and it's a completely new new avenue for me to work into, and I get that feeling that I'm not enough, but there's a lot more to be done. I haven't done enough. So that thinking of it's an imposter syndrome, that I'm not enough. I need to go more. At 33, what have I done? Have I done enough things in my life? Have I achieved what I wanted to achieve? The purpose I came to Ireland for? So there's so many questions that comes up in our mind, my mind, and our mind a lot of times. But again, I keep reminding myself of the accomplishments that I had, that this whole journey I have taken by myself in the last 33 years, and the wonderful people God has sent in my life and who has helped me go through this journey smoothly, with my own challenges that helped me discover who I am as a woman, and they are continuing to help me discover who I will be in next year, or will be a different person. But yes, we all have an immense potential, and we should try and just try to find out what's that ultimate kernel that helps us be ultimate kernel of our being. I think that's very important, and now I have realized it.
Yeah, it's so important. And it's fluid, isn't it? And life's a journey, isn't it? Aside from the entrepreneurial journey that we touched upon, it's a life journey, isn't it? And we touch some people, and some people touch our lives, and some touch our lives for good, and some touch our lives for bad, sadly. And I think the important thing is that we try and take the lessons that we can from it and use it as as energy or fuel to continue moving forward and impart our knowledge and expertise on others, in the hope that they can become that much stronger for it. And I think if we come from a good place, a place from love and peace, and and send that out, then surely only good can come from that. But it is a learning journey, and it's difficult, isn't it? There are times where certainly as women or entrepreneurs, where we feel exhausted, deflated.
Right.
We get the imposter syndrome. We
Right.
question why are we here? How did we get here? And I think it's good not to compare too much to our peers. Comparison can be a toxin if we're not careful. It's good to be aware of our peers and their milestones and what they have and haven't achieved by such times. But I think, when we compare too much and internalize that, then it can be almost a toxin in our mindset and our well-being, because we're all on different paths.
Definitely.
We're all on different routes, and some may be much further along, and we may feel that we're not as far along as they are. We don't know what they've had to endure. We don't know what we're enduring. It's all different. There's so many different dynamics that go into that. And so like I say, I think while it's good to be aware of our peers and everything else, and acknowledge it and give praise to the people that have achieved well, but the people that haven't, give the support to help them move forward more. Absolutely. I think it's so important to stay in our own lane. Bit of a cliche, but it's so important to stay in our own lane and just keep going forward, and thank the universe for all the blessings and all the lessons.
Always be grateful. Yes.
And embrace our loved ones, and always, I think, remember our why, why. And that is quite often our loved ones, and always cherish those, because life is very short, and we need to always cherish that. I think it's so important.
Sure, Shelle. And yes, I look forward to meeting you and the whole team in the upcoming event in June. And I'm sure I will get a lot of insights and mentoring and the support which will take me to the next level. And I'm learning. I'm still I'm considered as a mature woman, because I'm in 30s, but I still would say I'm still a child, but in my heart and my inside of me is still a child. I like to do those naughty things at home. Like I like to scream like a kid at times. And yes, I'm still learning and growing and developing with everyone. And there's a more to this journey, a lot to be done. Certainly.
There certainly is. And I have so many women that come to me and say, I'm too old, I can't do that. And I say, you know, you've got a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You're never too old.
Yes.
You were never ever too old. And you know, life is for living, life is for learning, it's a journey, and we have to try and embrace it the best that we can, and share whatever good blessings that we have with other people that are less fortunate. We have to share, we have to do the right thing. It's so important. And you know, and you know, the universe connected us, and I'm very grateful for that. So grateful.
Definitely.
And you know,
Same
you're looking
here.
so well, you're just glowing there.
Thank
You're looking
you.
so well.
Thank
And
you.
you've always got such a smile, and it's so beautiful to see you again and
Thank
hear
you.
your thoughts and everything. And thank you so much. And
Me too. Me too.
I'm
I
looking
feel
forward to
my
seeing you again.
yes, absolutely, Shelley. Okay, and thank you. Thank you for this platform, and thanks for listening to me. And I hope we did meet our you know, the vision and objective of this conversation today,
Yes,
and
it's
the
been
message
absolutely,
that we needed to give out to people.
yeah, it's been
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. And I think, you know, it's about being together, isn't it? It's about the power of, you know, coming together and that human connection as well, isn't it? And, you know, supporting
absolutely.
each other, championing each other. And you know, it's been beautifully captured today, I think, in this call. And I feel all kind of relaxed now and everything. I might just float off somewhere. I feel quite relaxed. It's lovely. It's
Lovely.
been, I'm always relaxed in your company though. So
Right.
there you go.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very
Shelley.
much,
That's
everybody.
wonderful. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you,
Okay,
Shelley.
take care, everybody. Thank
Take
you so
care.
much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.